Welcome everybody to the Super Irrelevant Thoughts podcast. My name is Randy.
I'm Jamie.
And we got a special guest for you guys today. Her name is Lisa, our friend Lisa. Welcome to the show, Lisa.
Yay!
Hi everyone. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Today we are going to be talking about cultural differences and growing up in different cultures because we are all from different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
Right about now, I know y'all digging this, so just turn up, we about to bring it.
Check it out now.
Somebody in the house say hell yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm struggling. I do this every time. Every time, like before, I know exactly what to say, but as soon as we start to record, I don't know what the hell I'm saying anymore. It's just like, yeah, guys. Lisa, thank you for coming on to the show. We're excited to have you. Real quick, tell us what you do.
Okay. Hi, my name is Lisa. I am full-time in supply chain logistic, and I do part-time entrepreneur in living benefits. And currently, we are expanding the business, building a team.
Mm-hmm.
We look for people who want to change the world or change their life. Anybody, different cultural background is welcome.
Oh, that's what's up.
So I'm very excited that today we can talk about more our cultural background differences.
Oh, very good, very good. That sounds super interesting.
I know.
I was like, we might have to do like another episode to kind of dig deeper into that. But
I was gonna say, I was like, because I do logistics too for work, but your logistics seems like you're saving the world and people, and mine is like consumer and like, money driven.
that consumerism.
Yeah.
All right, tight.
You're a superhero.
Are you guys familiar with all the differences between culture, ethnicity, and race? Sorry, that was like a question that I was just like
So deep.
Well, because honestly, I don't. I mean, I can think of the difference, but I honestly don't know the definition of each word. But I know,
I feel like they get intermingled.
it's definitely been interchanged. Because like growing up, did you guys ever get that question of what ethnicity are you, or what nationality, or what are you? You get that question at all growing up, or even now? What are you? Do you get that question?
Yeah, I do actually.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people would say, where did you come from? Or, yeah, I agree with you. You know, when people say, what ethnicity are you?
Yeah.
I don't really know how to answer it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what? You're like, yeah. What are you?
Like-
I don't know. I mean, when it comes to ethnicity, I think that's like for example, my ethnicity is Asian or something. No, Cambodian, because that's what I am. But then my race is Asian, and my cultures and beliefs are Cambodian based. Like the traditions and practices, I guess we do and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I think for me, when anyone asks like, "What are you?" It's just like I know what they're getting at as far as like they want to hear that I'm Filipino, but the thing is,
and they'll be like, "I knew it.
I know, right?
knew it."
But
I too like lumpia and adobo.
Exactly. But then it's like, I know that's what they want to hear. But then what I want to say is I'm American because I'm born in America. I only know how to speak English. I'm like, I don't understand a lick of Tagalog at all, or any dialect from the Philippines. So I'm like, it's like I know what they're asking, or I know what they want to know, but I want to say I'm American because I'm kind of like American.
Yeah.
But anyways, going from the the ethnicity, the culture. I feel like the culture is also that word. What culture are you? Or is just like what you
believe.
Yeah, the community that you are a part of. And I guess with that, I would say I'm within that Filipino culture because a lot of the culture, other than the language, I'm deep in. But we'll get more on that.
Yeah.
What would let's see.
Well, what's your culture, first off, Lisa?
So I'm half Japanese, half Chinese.
Okay.
Oh, very cool.
So it is really complex. You know, when
Mm-hmm.
people ask me, do you want to know where I was born?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you want to know where I came from as like the country?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you want to know how did I grow up?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a major differences.
Yeah, yeah.
So for culture wise, I would say Asian culture major in
Mm-hmm.
Japanese and Chinese.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very cool. Where were you born?
I was born in Japan, Kobe,
Oh, okay.
Kobe
Oh.
beef.
Hell yeah.
That's good. That's what's up.
I actually like Wagyu.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. It's good.
That is really good, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. How long did you live in Japan?
So I stayed there until I was 6 years old,
Okay.
Okay.
and then we moved to China.
Okay.
Oh, very cool.
And stay in China. So it's very interesting because we moved to China, but I went to Japanese school
In China.
in China
Oh, interesting. Okay.
for for elementary school part. So during that time, the elementary school, I feel like I was in China, but I see myself as a Japanese.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
But then later
get that.
on, after elementary school, now I need to go to middle school,
Yeah.
right? My parents transferred me to Chinese school.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
So there was a little culture shock, and I started to need to adapt the different culture, becoming Chinese.
Interesting. That's pretty wild.
That's
My grandpa is actually more Chinese than he is Cambodian, but the way we were raised was we were more Cambodian. So I don't know a lot about the Chinese part of my heritage, but I know we celebrate Chinese New Year's, red envelopes and blessings for the elders and stuff like that, But when they say like, "Oh, do you celebrate New Year's?" I'm always like, "Oh, you mean like Cambodian New Year's?" Yeah, I definitely do that, But yeah, and I don't speak any Chinese at all. My grandpa does, but yeah, I just never learned about that part.
I see.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Lisa, how many languages do you know?
I speak Chinese, Japanese, and English.
Okay, very cool.
Dang,
So-
Rosetta Stone, man.
So for that time where you're living in Japan and then you move to China and you're in elementary school, a Japanese elementary school. Did you know how to speak Chinese during that time as well?
Just a little bit
Mhm.
because my parents are Taiwanese.
Oh, okay.
So they do speak Chinese with me, Chinese and Japanese mix in the house.
Oh.
So that was very helpful.
Yeah.
But once I got into the school, it was very different because I need to start learning how to write. I
Yeah.
Oh.
didn't, and I wasn't able to speak formally Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
So my Chinese improved so much during that middle school time.
Oh.
Did they expect you to know Chinese already when you got into that school, or did they teach you since they knew you're from Japan or something like that?
That is a very good question. They do require you to be able to understand and speak a little bit. But because it was just middle school, so they don't require you to know everything.
Ah,
But they obviously treated me as an international student.
Oh, interesting.
That
yeah, because I know in the Philippines or something, you have to speak English in some of the classes or something like that.
I think from my understanding, it's just so the national language is Tagalog, but then depending on where you live, there's a very specific dialect. So my dad is from Baguio and he speaks Ilocano. Then my mom's from Zambales, speaks Zambales. But since the national language is Tagalog, they need to know their local dialect and then the national dialect. And then English. So the thing is, my parents always talk to each other in Tagalog, but when they would talk to their family members, they wouldn't understand anything that they were saying. Like when my dad was talking to his brothers and sisters, my mom wouldn't understand, and same thing with the other way around. And But to me, it all sounded the same.
Yeah.
I couldn't pick out the things, and I never really paid attention to. I was too busy playing video games and riding my bike that I didn't like. I didn't pay attention to all of the small little things. And I mean, now I can pick it up. Like when I hear Ilocano, I could be like, I'm pretty sure that's Ilocano, and then I can kind of like, but with the Sambales, I'm like, I don't know that. I don't hear it as frequent, so I'm like, I don't know what that sounds like. But yeah.
So you were born here.
I was born in
90.
Southern California. Yeah. And then, yeah.
And how about you, Jamie?
I was born in Shreveport, Louisiana. So from like the
Louisiana.
south, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like the south of South. I was gonna say South America, but not like South America, but
South
like
of America.
South of the United States. The culture is different from like the north. You know, like it's more like laid back and
Oh, for
you know
sure.
Southern hospitality. You know, respectfulness.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting. Also, just to even within America, there's cultural differences amongst Americans depending where they are in America.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people don't realize that either when
Totally.
they're thinking about that stuff. So Lisa, how long did you live in China for after Japan?
I have. It's been a really long time. So, I was there from middle school, and elementary school time, right? So I would
Yeah.
say maybe about 10, maybe 15 years.
Okay.
10 years. Then I moved to Seattle for high school.
Oh, okay.
That was
Oh.
actually my first time ever to come to Seattle.
Okay.
But the high school journey was horrible.
Yeah.
Oh no, I can
I can
imagine, especially yeah.
Yeah, high school.
God damn.
Yeah.
I think high school was always like the worst part for a lot of people.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
yeah, growing up here and knowing the language and the culture, and then going to high school, it still sucks. So I can imagine what it feels like.
for international
for you.
Yeah, so
So how
Right.
yeah.
did you come in like 9th grade, or how old were you when you moved to Seattle?
Yeah, ninth grade.
9th
Oh,
grade.
freshman, okay.
Yeah, freshman until senior year.
Okay.
And but that 4 years was honestly it was so hard. It was
Oh.
miserable. And so I went back to China for university.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I'm out.
You're like, screw this.
Yeah.
Was like a public school or was like a
Yeah, it
private?
was a public school.
Okay.
And now I think about it, it's not really, students or anything. It's just because at that age,
Oh.
Oh.
we can't really handle the cultural differences, right? I
Yeah.
mean, high school, teenager, the focus is different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after I went back to China for university, in China, there are many, many people want to immigrate to other country.
Yeah.
So that inspired me again. I was like, why do you guys want to go out? And they have this American dream. They think America has a great culture. It's free. It's a freedom country, and it's have more opportunity. So after I graduated, I worked for maybe 2 years in China. And one day I just told my dad, I was like, you know what? Everybody want to go to United States. Let me just go back one more time to check it out. If it's still the same. So then 6 years ago, I came back. It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think as an adult, everybody just, be able to understand, able to help you.
Absolutely.
Then I just fall in love with Seattle again.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Seattle the first time. So
Yeah.
Very cool.
I like Seattle. I think we talked about this before too, but yeah, Seattle is great for like we're like a melting pot. Like there's like a little bit of everything, and especially a lot of people immigrate to Seattle. I think it's because of the ports. I think that's the reason why they come here a lot too.
yeah.
But yeah, man. So your first couple years coming back to Seattle, it was just like you were glad you made a decision to come back then.
Well, I have to be honest. The first 3 years, it was hard still, right?
Okay.
But the hardness, it's different than when I was in high school.
Yeah.
What I was dealing with is more about the language, right? Looking for a job. How can I be successful
Oh yeah.
in
Yeah.
like survive, right, in Seattle? And I didn't want to just come here for 1 year or half year and then say, oh, Dad, I'm back again, right? I didn't really try hard enough.
Yeah.
So eventually I made it.
You survived. Yeah.
Yes.
No, yeah, totally. Like high school, it was just so hard because you're trying to fit in, and not knowing the culture, the American culture or language, it could have been hard. Like even I was like embarrassed. Like literally, even with my lunch, like I would bring like rice, with like fish sauce and stuff like that,
yeah.
And they're like, "What does that smell?" I'm like, "Oh, it's fish sauce, man." It's good.
Yeah.
And then just getting made fun of that. It's like, ugh. I want Lunchables now, like just get, the American food. But
Yeah.
but now that I'm older and like, I respect, I'm like, oh, I'm proud of my food. I'm proud of like,
Hell
hey,
yeah.
I was like, I love fish sauce and everything, man. Like soy sauce, come on, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I think like one of the struggles going through high school, just in general, is that part of your life, you don't know who you are, right? You're trying to find out who you are, what you like, and to be in a culture that's so different. Like you're so caught up in trying to figure or navigate through that you don't have time to really like learn yourself, because listening to your guys' stories and it's like thinking about on my personal experience in high school. I was lucky enough to spend my entire day just figuring out who I was. So it's just like, so my high school experience was actually fantastic. Like I actually miss sorry, I don't mean to rub it in or anything. My bad guys. No, but like no, because I like even a lot of the people that I grow up with going through high school, everyone hated high school. I personally loved it because my grades were terrible in high school. I failed so many classes, but I loved it because there was no responsibility, and the only thing that I did was the stuff I wanted to do. I was breakdancing, I was DJing, I was like doing all this stuff, and like learning about myself and learning what I love, and that being able to have that was just it was good. But then hearing your story, Lisa, I'm like, I can't imagine that has had to be so hard. And I understand why that it was miserable. I'm like, that's crazy. Let me ask you this. What did your whole family move to Seattle when you went to high school?
No.
Oh.
I came here with my brother, and then we were living in my aunt's house.
Oh, what?
So you had family here in Seattle too then? When you moved here?
That time.
That time. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so what prompted you to kind of make that move initially?
To
high
come
school.
to move to high school,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So in China, because I am Japanese, right? So I am international student.
Oh.
And there are schools for Japanese, right? And middle school Chinese, middle school China would like accept you. But when you go into high school, China is getting very restricted because they care about their score, their average score, right?
Like the score or something like the
For each school.
Oh, gotcha.
It's like their name.
Yeah.
Oh, like the performance of all the students within the school. There.
Exactly. Because a lot of people graduate middle school, now it's the time to decide which high school to go into. The higher the better the school has a higher rate going to the better university.
Gotcha. Like class A, class B, class C.
Right.
I only know that because of like the dramas I watch sometimes. Like like I think like Boys Over Flowers. That was a drama that they're in different classes. But yeah, anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
In China, it's a really heavy on study, on score, because due to the high population. So the competition is huge.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, because in America, it's a lot of social. It's not academic. You know what I mean? I mean, it should be academic, and there are some students who deal with like study. But the majority is, social. Like, oh, hey, let's hang out. Let's do this. Let's do that. Prom.
Right.
like,
Totally.
yeah.
So it was a big change. By that time, pretty much the school was like, okay, Lisa, if you can't really catch up to this score, we might recommend you to go to other school. Right? And there's no more Japanese school in China for high school because most of the Japanese will go back to their country.
Gotcha.
So my option was going to real American international school. So then my parents was like, if I'm going to spend this money for you to learn English in China, why don't you just learn English in United States?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense, yeah.
That makes sense.
So that was the initial reason
Yeah.
that I came here.
Were you a good student?
During the high school?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. See?
I mean, because I couldn't do anything
You couldn't
else.
do anything.
I mean, it's so funny because the whole culture I have grew up with was about the score, about the study, right?
Yeah.
When I go to the school the first day, it was colorful. I was like, oh my God, everybody is so unique the way they are. Personalities.
Yeah.
It's so cool, honestly. It was so cool. And in my mind, I was like, is that okay? Is that allowed? What's their parents gonna think? Like, you know? It was so surprising. But now I think about it, I'm really happy that I was able to learn from Chinese sides that you have to study hard. But at the same time, came to America, learn about the social soft skill, right? Social that you guys were just talking about.
That's how you create your personality.
Right. To be different and to be able to speak up.
Yeah.
To show who you are. So that was a big change. But of course, I struggled from someone who is really shy, introvert, to become who I'm proud of, who I am today.
Nice. Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
See, that's so crazy to think that even you coming here, you still dealt with that because coming from my parents, they're from Asia too, and the way they raised me was kind of the same way too. Like in high school, they were very strict. I couldn't do anything. It was home, study, work. That's it. Home, study, work.
Yes, no, that's it. My life.
Yeah, and then I didn't even until my senior year when I like started to do like clubs or like I applied for like ASB like president or stuff like that, and that's when I had excuses like, I actually have to do the school event thing, I have to go out, it was like I didn't like lying, to my parents, but it's allows me to kind of have a life too, but it's still academic, but yeah, I feel like Asian parents are always just so strict. They think that education, they just want you to have a good career. Back then I hated it, but now that I'm older, I kind of understand it. Like they just wanted the best for me,
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe that's just how they were raised. And coming to America, they did work hard and stuff like that. So I get it. But, we grew up in America and we're younger, new technology, it's like we're having stuff that you did. I always joke with my parents, like, I took, if I was in Cambodia nowadays, I can take a boat here. You guys swam. You know what I mean? Like, like you just joke around. Like there's technology now. You don't have to be this way, But they're just, they like to be hard and just work their ways and stuff. Yeah.
I do have one story that I want to share.
Absolutely.
During the high school, so we have graded A, B, C, D, right?
Yeah.
And because the grade was so important to my family and to me that time, so sometimes, for example, history, language, art, of course, I wasn't good at it, right?
Yeah.
So I know when I know I'm going to get C or D, I would go to negotiate with the teacher.
Nice.
Nice.
And I would say, this would really affect me heavily to my family. And I just moved here. I'm working so hard to try to learn. Would you please give me a pass instead? Because receiving pass, it doesn't affect your GPA.
Correct.
Oh.
So as long as like PE, math, art, I am A.
Yeah.
Receiving P, so my GPA would be higher.
Wow, see, I should have done that too.
No.
I should have done that.
I was like, how'd you learn that? Did you just...
You lawyered them, you finessed them.
Yeah. I was like, I didn't even know that was
I didn't know that was
an option.
possible.
How'd you learn about that?
Yeah.
So I had one class, ESL class,
Yeah.
and then that teacher, at the beginning, I didn't know either, right? And one time I received P, and my aunt was really mad. Oh, why did you P? That's like really bad. That's like worse than,
Yeah.
A, B, C, D. But then I saw my GPA didn't change. And it's like, when I talked to that teacher, I
Yeah.
say, what does it mean? So she explained it to me, it doesn't affect.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
That's pretty cool.
That's
I didn't. I
super
wish I
smart.
would have known that. Yeah, because when I had bad grades, I brought dishonor to my family when I gave it to them. And they yell, like, they get mad. I'm like, it's a B,
Dude,
though. It's still good,
Oh my goodness! Well, you know what I would do? I'd see that report card, the quarterly report card, and I'd see that F, and like I remember, you could erase the ink with a pencil eraser. So I'd erase the top of the F, and then I'd draw like a line to make it look like an A.
Yeah.
But I mean, end of the year report card, then my parents would for real see like the real stuff.
Yeah.
But through the quarters, they wouldn't know I was failing. But I was terrible, man. I feel
I
like, oh my
used to-
god.
Last student.
I used to use Microsoft Word, and I would just like take the logo of like the school, and I just make my own grades.
Wow.
But towards the end of the year, I always made sure I passed. I didn't really take school seriously until college or community college. Really, I don't know, because in community college, I felt like you're on your own. If you don't know this stuff, you better learn it because there's not really anybody to teach you. But in
Yeah.
high school, you can cheat or like people or study.
Right.
But, yeah, but man, like thinking about like, oh, you failed history, like, or like you didn't do good in history, like, oh, that makes sense because it's not your history, it's America. You know what I mean? You're not coming from America. Yeah. So I don't really know why you would have to learn. I never understood that either. Like learning America's history if you're not really from America. You know what I mean? Isn't that kind of a weird thought to think of? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I get it because they make it a requirement, but I'm just like, that doesn't really make a lot of sense if you're coming in from another country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the whole point of history is to like understand it so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
And I guess like that curriculum, it's just like it's easier to just have one curriculum for everyone and then just be like, there it is, kind of thing. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
But you see, the funny thing though is like when you're learning like history or something, you're learning it from one side of the culture.
Oh,
Because
for
like
sure,
whatever
for
war
sure.
we had in
True.
here in America, what was going on in China or Japan? Like what was
True.
actually going on there?
True.
You know what I'm
Very
saying?
true.
Yeah.
Very true.
If anything, I meant they should have done like world history or something, so you can learn a little bit about each culture. So like world history to me makes sense.
Is there a world history class in high school?
No, it's more like middle school, I think. I don't remember, but
I don't even remember.
I remember I almost didn't graduate high school because I didn't take a Washington State history. Yes, and I guess you're supposed to take that, and I was like, oh, I need Washington State history, but I took American history. I took all the stuff. Like, what is it? So I had to take an extra class my senior year, which was supposed to be my free period. And I learned about Washington's history.
Lisa, your story is tripping me out still. Like that's a cool ass story because it's like
passing,
to be observant enough to be like, oh, I can negotiate in the future. When you would ask teachers to change it to a passing grade, would they do it?
Yes. They
What?
actually,
That's that.
I think you really have to be honest with them, like why you would want a
totally.
pass. And my story was, this is going to affect my family's relationship between me and my parents. Especially, I'm living in my aunt's house. I want to make her proud. And my parents are still in China.
Yeah.
I cannot disappoint them.
Oh.
And this is just really important. And if I need to do extra credit, I would do it.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's super cool.
See, you have a good soul. Because we would lie. So we won't dishonor our family. I won't disappoint them.
Please don't learn about that.
Yeah,
I was yeah.
we're bad examples, guys. Don't follow our way.
I think I think my parents were like super strict on my sister, and my sister's 6 years older than me. But I think like by the time I was like in high school, like my dad was already retired from the military, and then my sister already kind of moved out of the house, and it was just me. And I think they started to just kind of get relaxed, and then I was kind of like, And I was just a rebel to begin with, so I'm like, I don't care. I'm gonna do whatever. But yeah, that was yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. Shoot.
But I would say though, back to the question that you asked earlier, I think part of me was because of the struggle. You know, it's kind of like the survival skill that just pop up. How can I not be fail?
Yeah.
Right? Not just the language, but like everything else. Try to fit in. Try
Yeah.
to be part of it.
So you coming to America, it felt like you needed to figure out how to survive. Pretty
Yes,
much, in all
it's-
aspects. Yeah.
Yeah, in high school, because like Randy mentioned earlier about you still don't know who you are, right? At that time, it's like I didn't know, and I didn't know my identity,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Especially coming from two different cultural backgrounds. Now it's the third one,
Yeah.
and I was young. I care about how people look at me,
Right.
how people
Oh.
think of me,
When you're young, that's
yeah.
how it always
Absolutely.
is.
right?
Absolutely.
And that affected me a lot.
Yeah.
And so my mind was just like, okay, I need to learn English. But okay, that English doesn't just, you know, I wouldn't be able to learn just in 1 year, to be
Oh
perfect.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? And the worst experience in the class, it was language arts class. I don't know if you guys had it, but like we have books, and sometimes you need to split into group activity.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then our language teacher would say, okay, please split into like about 3 to 4 people, no more than 4,
Yeah.
in 3 minutes. And me and one guy would always sit there by ourselves because nobody wants to be
Oh.
Oh
in
yeah,
a group
yeah.
with us because we
Yeah.
can't really contribute that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we feel bad too. We feel bad to even ask, can I join?
Yeah.
Because they're going to say no on their face.
Was language arts kind of like you would read like literature or something like that, or is that how
Yeah.
was that was your language arts?
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or some book and
Like some story or something, right? Yeah. I hated language arts too, but the reason was because I didn't go to ESL, but you know, growing up, my parents talked a lot of. We didn't talk a lot of English. It was a lot of like Cambodian, and you know, I learned English from TV and stuff, honestly, and from you know cousins and stuff like that. But my English wasn't good, and or the proper formal way of talking English, you know. And you know, so my reading wasn't that great. So, and then we always used to have to read in front of the class,
Oh.
and I hated that.
I hated
so
it
much.
either.
I hate it so much. Like even to this day, like I hate reading. Like I can do it, you know. It's
Yeah.
just I stutter or sometimes or like I'm like mispronounce the word or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I always hated it, and like it scarred me, you know.
Yes.
So yeah, I always like with the ESL students, I understood their pain. I was like, it's all good, man. I don't know how to read either. Really, you know, so it's okay.
That's nice of you.
Yeah.
You-
Yeah. Well, yeah, man. Kids are mean. That's why, you know, I feel like if they're not, because I went to a predominantly more white school. Most of the students were white, you know.
Yeah.
And if you're different, you know, it's harder to try to fit in. You have to conform a little bit more, or
Yeah.
if you're, you know, because we had a lot of international students. Like my high school, like they promoted like bringing international students. You know, they even had like dorms. It was a high school. They had dorms for them to stay at and stuff like that, or they can have host families and stuff.
That's pretty well.
Yeah, you know. And then for the international students who like wouldn't conform to like the culture of like high school, you know, a little bit, they kind of were like the outcasts, you know. But then those are the people who were driven to succeed more because you know they
Hell yeah.
they took advantage of that education. You know, they didn't really care about a lot of stuff. And you know, honestly, those people were actually really cool. You know, there's nothing wrong. They were nice. You know.
Yeah.
But I think that has to do with the Asian part of respect. And, you know, respecting each other's stuff because, you know, respecting your elders and so on like that. Because, you know, they were nice, you know, they were respectful to everybody, you know.
Yeah.
But I think in America, respect is kind of, it's there, but it's
Barely there.
you know, like the way they treat their elders and stuff like that. Like, to me, like, I would never think about putting my parents in a home.
Yeah.
You know, like when they get older, like a care facility or something like that. Like they would come stay with me or my brother or something like that, and that's just how we were raised. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong. I mean, that's sometimes sometimes you need full help, but regardless, at least in my family or from what I've seen from like Asian families, you take care of your parents pretty much, or the elders in your family.
Yeah.
I feel like that is definitely a big culture difference between Americans and Asians is the family aspect. Like, when I meet essentially Americans, white people, right? And getting to know them, and then kind of find out they're not close with their siblings. They don't want to see their parents, and it's kind of like that's a very weird dynamic because I can't imagine that. I'm like I'm close with even like my second cousins where they're like so distant, far off, where I'm like, I'll go and stay at their house just randomly. Like it's just like
sorry guys, technical difficulties. Our battery ran out.
The battery straight died.
So what we're talking about now is different from the last sentence we just said.
But anyways, new subject.
Yeah. Christmas is coming up.
It is Christmas in like a week or so. So
I love Christmas actually. Christmas is like one of my favorite holidays. We don't do a lot of, I don't even think, at least in Cambodia, I think Christmas is known, but I don't think they like celebrate it, or so my traditions are very Americanized tradition when it comes to Christmas. But one thing that I have a lot of, or maybe it's just talking to my Asian friends, when you're trying to buy a gift for your Asian parents, it is the hardest thing to buy. Like, every time, like, my mom says she needs something, and then I buy that thing for her, she's like, why'd you get this one? Like, oh, it's okay, or it's not the right size. And I was like, why is it so hard? I was like, you told me what you want, you still don't want it, and there's moments where like I gift my parents something and they don't even use it, so I ended up taking it back and giving it to somebody else. So,
they don't even like take it out the box.
Yeah, they're so hard to shop for, and I talk to all my Asian friends and they're just like, yeah, my parents are hard to shop for. You just don't know what to get them. Like, they don't really say. And, like, I tried buying my dad, like, the new technology stuff to get it. Like, I recently just taught him how to use Netflix, so he uses Netflix a lot.
Okay.
But then, I always have to go there to show him how to use it. And when we have to update it or something, or if the Wi-Fi is down,
Yeah.
And I was just like, this gift is great. But I feel like I'm working to get you that. But do you have any traditions that you usually do for the holidays?
Yeah. So every year, by the end of the year, I get really excited because we have this tradition from China. Basically, before January 1st, you need to do, I follow this tradition that you need to do a deep clean of your house everywhere, from corner to corner. And the reason is because you want to, it's like a clean slate, right? You want to clean it out, your dirt or dirty, like, or we call it bad luck.
Oh, okay.
Through the 2021, right? So you clean everything and also try to throw away anything that you don't use or it's been a while that you are not using, because you have to throw away in order to have room to welcome the good fortune. Welcome the prosperity.
Interesting.
Yeah, if you are too packed, your house, like no room, basically it come and go. But you want to make sure that it stay for your next year.
That makes sense. Because you're bringing on the new year, so you want to bring in new.
Like,
I like that.
Yeah. So like
and so like you're cleaning everything in your house or in your life or anything like that, like
like house, not just okay, let me vacuum. It's like vacuum but like sweep, try to do deep clean that you normally don't do, like corner to corner, window, just be clean slate as much as possible.
That's a good.
Okay, I like that.
Right? And
I might try that.
You should.
Yeah.
I wish I had that tradition growing up, man. My parents were freaking hoarders, man. They would hold on to everything. They wouldn't let anything go. Like, Yeah, but as far as tradition, like holiday traditions, especially with the New Year, like same with Jamie. Like a lot of for me growing up, everything was very Americanized. The Christmas was pretty much the only thing that I saw was different was just that Filipino star that they would hang up with all the different colors that they got for the Philippines. But other than that, it's still like the Catholic Christmas, typical Christmas. And then as far as like traditions, like going into the New Year, it was just like turn on all the lights right before midnight. Jump when it's midnight, because then the more you jump, the taller you'll get in the next year. Make sure to have money in your pockets. So then so you'll receive more money kind of going, or whatever you're doing as it goes into the new year is what you're going to be working on.
I didn't know that.
The following year.
That.
So I would, when I was DJing, wherever I was going, I would take the crossfader out of my DJ mixer and keep it with me in my pocket. So when it would hit midnight, I would like click that fader because I'm like, I want to DJ this next year kind of thing, So it's just wherever I was and whatever I wanted to do the next year, I would be like, have something with me during that. But I don't know if those are like Filipino traditions or anything, but
we did, mine was like super Americanized because like again, like I don't think like there was Christmas in Cambodia or whatever, but pretty much. We opened one gift Christmas Eve and the rest on Christmas Day if we had anything. Like hot chocolate, Santa Claus, bleeding Santa Claus, stuff like that. The Christmas tree, But going back to the whole your tradition that you do at the end of the year, I recently adopted some stuff like doing that process with my wife.
Nice.
Because we've been watching Marie Kondo. So, we've been doing a lot of like getting rid of stuff. Yeah. So like we did our clothes first, and every piece of item we had to hold up. It's like, does this bring joy to me? And then does it? And then if it doesn't, then we thank it and then we let it go. Right. So we need to do that to every room. But we did it with our clothes. So I got rid of a lot of clothes.
That's good.
Yeah. So it's cool. It declutters. Makes you feel fresh.
Right. Yeah. And I think that not just the physically your house clean, but also you have to feel good to start your new year, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of time, like you said, does this bring a joy to me? And another perspective is, instead of throw away, you can donate. So you're actually doing a great thing to the community as well. So
you're a superhero. I told you from the beginning, man. You think about donating. See, mine's still sitting in the garage. Like I just moved it to one different room. Like,
you have 2 weeks.
I have 2 weeks. I got it. I'll take care of it.
Like I like it. I like how different tradition. Maybe this year, we should like combine. Like I like the idea of putting money in the pocket.
Yeah, I like that too. That's pretty cool.
I think I would do that this year, maybe.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And one more thing in China during the New Year, like right across 12 a.m. You have to wear red.
Oh, okay.
Or have red color with you.
Oh, we wear red during like New Year's. Though.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, but you guys do it during
what's
like the regular
New Year or Chinese New Year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. Okay.
What's the significance of wearing red?
Yeah, because you know how red is very
like
bright.
Yeah.
So it attracts
the
good luck.
Like the lucky envelopes, they're red. Yeah.
Like to me, so that's why you want to wear.
I don't know why. That's cool though.
Red underwear or anything.
Yeah.
Do you see my nail?
Yeah, see,
red.
You're ready.
You're ready for the new year. That's tight.
Is Christmas big in like China and Japan? Like, or because Christmas is like I would say it's a religious holiday, because it's well, minus like the whole Santa Claus thing, but it's to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ and stuff. But is that is religion, is like Christianity or Catholicism big in like China or Japan like that?
Not really, I would say, just because we don't have the cultural background to start with, but because it's a nice holiday, right? Like we watch international movies and everything. Okay. And of course, we do have the idea that, it's a great time to show your appreciation, to give gift to your family or spend time. So slowly we're catching up the culture, but we like the idea of just, give gift and spend time. Yeah.
what was the name of sorry to go back. What was the name of that tradition that you guys do at the end of the year with the deep cleaning corner to corner and getting rid of what is it called?
So I don't think there's an
Oh.
actual name
Oh,
for
there is.
it.
Okay, it's just a thing you do.
It's just
okay.
the thing that you do
Oh,
that I was
okay.
taught. You know,
I
my mom
see.
said, don't forget to cut your nail. You know, if you want to get your hair done, do it before the new year. Clean donation. Yeah.
I feel
See-
like my life would be completely different if
If
I
I
grew
did
up with
that,
that with that tradition.
Seriously, I think so
My life
too.
would be totally different
See,
for the
'cause
better. I
That
feel
reminds
like.
me of like spring cleaning. Like
Yeah.
that's what you're supposed to do in the
Yes.
springtime. Because to bring in the summer or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's cool.
Similar.
Yeah, similar
Yeah.
like that.
Dang. That's cool. I dig that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see the thing I like I don't know, I like a lot of like hearing traditions from different Asian cultures because
Yeah.
it's similar in some sort of aspect. That's why I like it, it's like, oh, I can definitely add this into our traditions that we
Yeah.
do.
Right.
So yeah, when it comes to culture, so you growing up and all of us coming from an Asian background, was there a culture have you always thought that you believe that Asian culture is what you are, that's what you love to do, but was there another culture that you think you could have grown up with or associated with? Like American, like say you grew up in America, like say you were American and you weren't
Okay.
Asian at all, do you think that lifestyle is something that would attract you compared to the way you were raised and the way you turned out now from your Asian background, I guess? Do you know what I'm saying? Am I saying it right? I feel like I'm not saying it.
I don't know.
It makes sense in my head.
I'm trying to think of the
Like
question, but
I don't want to say, oh, do you wish you were another race or something? Like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
I see.
can you see yourself? Like, do you think, or are you proud that you're Asian and the way you grew up with your culture, your background, your practices, and it made you who you are? Like, are you proud of that? Or could you see yourself living in another culture or another,
That's hard to think about because it's all I know is what I know of myself. So it's like it's hard to remove myself and see what it is like. Because the thing is like, I don't know. Because people that have grown up similar to me, like Filipino American, I'm still very different from them as well. So it's kind of hard to say. It's kind of hard to answer that question. I don't know how to answer that.
Right.
But I'm proud of the way I grew up and the values that I have. So,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I were to. I mean, hopefully, if I were in any other culture, I would still be the same
Yeah.
core value. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I think I'm the same way. I think this is a little bit difficult question just because there are many other culture out there that I know it's great, but because I never grow up with it, so I can't really evaluate that if I would be better or not, or if
Yeah.
I would like it or not. But I am very proud of my culture
Yeah.
Yeah,
and how it shaped me of who I am
Yeah.
today.
absolutely.
I am proud too because you guys both said you're proud too.
Conforming.
I conform. No. I am super proud of to be Cambodian, have an Asian background, just because of the main things, like respect and family and the way. Because I feel like that shaped me into the person I am today. However, I do feel like there are pros and cons for all cultures. Like I'm not saying one's better than the other.
Oh no,
or
for
anything
sure.
like that. I'm just saying, like for example, I'm super into like the islander culture, like like Samoa, Tonga, or Hawaii, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I'm super into like what they're into do. However, I don't can see myself living that lifestyle every day.
You say you can or you can't?
Can't.
Oh, you
I
can't.
Yeah.
That island life?
I don't know. I think it comes with that. The grass isn't always greener on the other side.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
for example, I love Hawaii. Like that's one of my favorite vacation spots. I don't think I can live there though. You know what I mean? Like so.
I mean, I dig the island time. Everything's slow.
Slow.
Just chill.
So I'm slow in general, so it's not. So yeah, but it's all Asian pride all day.
I just started having this thought started like brewing in my mind during this entire conversation with you guys, and I come to realize like, all of us have grown. I feel like we have very similar values and views, and I think it's because we've grown up with multiple cultures in mind. Growing up from that Filipino culture, but being in America and being conscious of both cultures. And then I remember, my parents would kind of remind me to be able to separate certain things, right? Where it's like we eat with our hands at home. And then my dad would be like, if you are ever at a friend's house, do not eat with your hands.
Right.
Yeah.
And kind of that separation is just like, to also kind of like respect different cultures and also protect different cultures or what you think is protect. But then, having that, it's just like I realize like I enjoy learning about other cultures instead of like, when I see something different, instead of reacting like, oh, that's the wrong way to do it, or why are you doing that? It's just like understanding why is it done that way, and then finding out the reason behind it. It's just like it's so intriguing and being like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. And even today, listening to you, Lisa, talk about certain things, and it's just like, oh, that totally makes sense. And it's just like, it for all the listeners that haven't had the opportunity to experience multiple different cultures, it could be difficult when you see something that's not to your culture. But if you take the time to just listen and understand, it can open up your mind and just really like, I feel like there's especially here in America, it's just like America or nothing, or my way or the highway. And it's just like, just take the time to like understand, and you'll probably learn a whole lot, kind of thing. So, but I just realized that as like, I can't remember exactly what things that you were saying, Jamie, but like I started like realizing like, oh, we probably think that way because we've been juggling multiple cultures in our lives growing up. And the people that don't have that patience or just that open mind to be able to kind of like understand why, it's just like there's so many different ways to do everything in life.
Right.
And it's like,
100% agree with that.
So.
There were a time when I was younger, I actually feel shame about it, having different culture, didn't know about my identity, and step into a new country. But, through the time I grow up, I feel like, honestly, it's a really beautiful thing in the world that makes everyone's different, and that makes everyone learn about each other, especially the society right now, right, compared to 20 years, 40 years ago. Everything is becoming more and more international, right? Totally. So it's more important to have this different nationality come together, work together. And so people, who came from, if you still have any thoughts that feel uncomfortable, don't be, you have to be proud of it. Because not everyone has like the opportunity like us,
absolutely,
traveling or came from different places or speaking different languages. That's something you should be proud of. And for the people who couldn't experience, it's important, like you say, to be open-minded, because at the end we are all human connected together. That's how we really make everything better.
I couldn't agree more. I think as you're actually like talking to somebody, getting to know their culture, and then the whole idea of culture appropriation, like I feel like that term's getting thrown out a lot nowadays. I feel like it depends on how you go. Like if you're very interested in another culture and I feel like you're just respecting it, like trying to be, not that you're trying to make it your own, but talking with somebody who's from a different culture, and you can learn a lot that way, which is what people should try to do. And I think it would change a lot of things, because then I didn't know things about what you were saying about China and Japan ever, like didn't know. So I think it's really cool to just be accepting and just be proud of who you are.
Dang, I kind of want to keep going, guys. I feel like we need to do like another episode, because I feel like there's so much that can still be be shared. And
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of funny stuff also that we haven't really like. Lisa, thank you for joining us on this episode. It was
this was fun. Yeah.
this is great. And
It
I got a
was
whole
great.
lot of new perspective, like a lot of new things to think about. So thank you for coming on and sharing your story and sharing with everyone like that. That was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity. You know, it's fun to talk about the culture, and it's really, you know, we can go deep in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is my first experience, so thank you so much for making me feel very comfortable
Absolutely.
Of course.
You're welcome.
for me to share.
We
and
want you to
thank
come
for-
back.
Yeah. If you'd be willing to come back
Thank
and record some more, I think there's a lot of good stuff
Yeah,
that
there's a
we
lot of
could.
things we could
There's
talk about,
so much more good stuff to talk about. So,
Yeah.
Before we go, is there anything you would like to promote or anything you want to say? Your Instagram, Facebook, whatever.
Oh yeah. Thank you for the opportunity. So yes, as I mentioned earlier, I am in Living Benefit Crusade. I help individual families and business owner to save taxes, either living benefit or tax-free retirement. So if any of you are interested in learning about the products, or if you are interested in the opportunity for the financial freedom, time freedom, anything, we are open, and please feel free to reach out to me. We can just have a free conversation, get to know each other, and then to see how our team can maybe help you to pursue your dream.
very cool. Very cool.
like
Do you have do you want us to post like an email or a website or Instagram, or how do people get a hold of you if they do want to?
Yeah, you can follow me on Facebook. My name is Lisa Taiga, and or Instagram. Right here.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Or
Right there,
That-
guys. We'll put it in the description. So we'll definitely.
please check it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll tag you on
And-
the Instagram post and
Actually,
and on YouTube.
we would love to have you back. We can talk about more about that too.
Oh, yeah.
If you're willing to come back another time.
Yes,
That'd be
that would
cool.
be that would be lovely.
I would love to
It's,
learn. 'Cause, yeah, I stay broke. you
Yeah.
know, so-
Oh, and also like it would be cool to have you on talking about like entrepreneurship, because
yeah.
just the story about the passing grade speaks loads on just that vision of not accepting what is just given. And it's
Yeah.
just like
Mhm.
that hustle and that drive, and it's just like
That creativity, like that was
yeah.
creative, and yeah,
so the thing is like
you're a genius.
and also like so me and Lisa are Facebook friends, and she's
Right.
always posting motivational stuff, and it
Mhm.
helps me at the times when I need to see it. So it's just like it'd be great to have you back on to talk about kind of that aspect of entrepreneurship and just motivation and just like grinding and working for stuff. So
Absolutely.
but yeah, that'd be cool.
I would be love to do that. I mean, I think
Cool.
yeah.
All right, tight. Well, to all the listeners, thanks for if you made it all the way to the end of this episode. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
For all the new listeners, welcome to all the OG listeners from the
Beginning.
the beginning. I mean, I saw that Spotify wrapped for the podcast, and those numbers, it's more than I was expecting.
Me
so,
too, man.
So appreciate.
the countries too, man.
Oh yeah,
Dude, Germany, Philippines.
it's like what? Like
Yeah,
we're not
man.
even advertising. That's tight.
Uh,
Well, shout out to everyone in all the different countries listening as well.
and again, thanks, Lisa, for coming in.
Thank
yeah.
you so much
Thank
for
you,
having
thank you,
me.
thank you.
It was a fun.
It was fun.
It was fun.
All right, cool.
Bye.
All right, peace.
Yeah.
Bye.